Have you ever thought to yourself, what would make a survival game better, such as like Vampire Survival? How about some big old anime corn? And of course, if you do want to see that video unedited, I will have it up over on patreon.com/Maconn. And of course, here it will be edited for obvious reasons. But with that all being said, this is actually kind of surprising because you would think a corn version of the type of game wouldn't be like ideal or that good, and also oddly nostalgic. Well, in the case of a Wing of Seduction, that is the actual case here. That the game itself is a little bit different than most other vampire style survival game. And first of all, get your mind out of gutter because we will get there. But to start off with the gameplay itself, this is a sci-fi theme version, so you are going to be playing with spaceships, and all your upgrades are different types of lasers, missiles, shields, pretty much sci-fi theme. With a little bit of I get in some way, what nostalgic for me at least, kind of felt a little bit like Geometry Wars in a lot of ways, since this is a dual-stick shooter version, as well as since the environment itself is not constantly looping like you would see in other survival game. This one is a set arena for you to fight in, so in return, kind of adds a lot more threat and a lot more strategy at far of getting around the enemy, since there is a lot very, very quickly itself. But when it comes to the story, it is, of course, you as a pilot is, of course, fighting aliens, but the thing to keep you, focused would be the way to put it. It's photos of distant waifus. And of course, in the demo we checked out during Team NetBet, we only had access to one waifu, but you're going to be able to, of course, get your hands on literally 5 in total here. And of course, the waifus are pretty much just here, not counting for the stuff we will talk about in a moment, but lore-wise, it here to, of course, be on the screen for the pilot himself. Because for some reason, looking at waifus is more important than being able to see aliens. And we have a little subplot of, like, is this any will to begin with? Either way, the story, but let's be honest. We are not here for the story if you play in that type of game. And once again, get your mind out of gutter. We will still get there momentarily. But nonetheless, the story itself, I guess, is doable and give you a little true line for your waifu of choice here. But the thing that comes in that makes this a little more distant, and how do the corn actually affect the actual gameplay of this style. And of course, I get real quick a little side note. If you want to play that, but you do not want the corn itself, of course, you can go ahead and put this into 3 different modes. One will be just straight up corn. Second mode will, of course, put wonderful cats everywhere, covering up the body parts of all the waifus in and out of a very specific scene. Once again, we will cover in a moment. And then the third option is completely get rid of the background waifu altogether. And in return, it's just a normal style of vampire survival type of game. So to keep that in mind, they do have the option for you to turn it on and off. And the theme version do have this as well. So if you want some big old kitties, you can get that. And if you don't, and you want to play for the game, you can do that as well here. But with all that being said here, let's go ahead and get into why you guys probably are interested in it, which is, of course, well, the leaderboards. Because let's be honest, with it being a arcade style game, we have to have leaderboards that you can go ahead and compete with your friends, as well as a global leaderboard. And like any other survival game, as you play through that, not only do you get points to go to the leaderboard, but you also will get your hands on a different upgrades that will upgrade just like any other survival style game, as well as, of course, by taking on side missions that will be available for each of the missions itself. You will, of course, get you some money, as well as find money in the environment or in the actual combat, as well as, of course, getting you some extra money for taking care of your waifu of choice. And then from there, you can use it to upgrade, buy different weapons for starting, as well as upgrades such as bonus attack, HP, and so on. But with all that being said, fine, we will go ahead, let's talk about the wonderful giant kitties. That is, of course, the other reason you're probably playing it, which is, of course, the corn itself. And, of course, the artwork elite for the one waifu that we got in the demo. It's fine, nothing out of the ordinary here as far like design choices. It's fine overall. Let's just say it is like a very specific look that you probably have seen in many other games of the corn variety. But it's fine, it's passable overall. And of course, when it comes to actually experiencing in gameplay, since it's broken up into two modes, which we have the pleasure scene, which once again, some of you probably familiar with other corn game, as well as in the actual combat itself. And the combat itself is, of course, you will have a photo, a very seductive one of your waifu of choice in the background. And of course, as you are fighting off enemy, you will have the side objectives that will pop up in the gameplay that will require you to do two things. One is, of course, involving you holding down an area for a certain amount of time. And once you do it, slow jab will start ramping up into fat jabs. And of course, you can get you some money from your waifu of choice as you pleasure by protecting certain parts of her body, as well as other areas that will pop up all overall, which is, of course, areas that you gotta do damage to. And once you do enough damage, that piece of quote will get whipped and then removed as you work your way through each of the waves of the enemy. And of course, by the end of it, if you are good and able to actually fight off the enemies and not die, any of this game a little more on the easier side, there is a court distance mode from normal to hard to extreme you can play on. But normal is pretty passable, at least in the beginning anyway, for the demo. And of course, as you do damage over and over and over, as these bots constantly keep popping up as you are progressing through the waves, of course, your character will get more and more naked in the background to help you keep motivating to fight all the aliens. And of course, if you actually beat the level itself, you will, of course, be rewarded slash, I get imply in that case, a random story that anymore, so just there to kind of move the part into the part that you are here for. And of course, this is made up of a mini game that is really don't have any weight at all, since once again this is very similar to other corn game where your character, where it is your waifu just kind of laying about in the demo like she is, as you can probably see. Once again, if you're watching it on edit on Patreon, you can see it all. But nonetheless, the game mode itself, it pretty much remove clothes, put clothes on, glow pieces of body, and thick pieces of bodies into other pieces of body. And pretty much this don't really have any real effect at all, beyond, of course, getting you some money for pleasuring the character the right way. And of course, we do have some dialogue. The dialogue itself is about as cheesy as you would imagine. And of course, at least in the demo, not a lot of variety, so you will be hearing the same thing over and over and over from the character as you are pleasuring them. But it is in Japanese, so if that tickles your fancy, there you go. At least at the time of the demo, no English dub is available for this. But overall, I do gotta say, the game is pretty much proven that survival or vampire-style survival games are still great when there is other things around. And the other things don't detract too much from the fun that does come with these types of games. And of course, once again, if you do want to play this, you don't want to deal with the corn stuff, you can turn that off and just play it as is with all that removed. Or, better yet, you can play it with some giant kitties everywhere. And let's be honest, the kitties are adorable.